right, welcome back everybody. Aesop Grim here, and this is the continuation of Chronicle number 1 for our Mass Effect Legendary series. And we had a bit of a glitch. So the save that I had made down here that kind of looked like what we're looking at right now was glitched. Like this door was halfway down and you couldn't activate it. You couldn't get out of here. So I had to load up an old save, the save I made before it on the command deck, and come back down here and distribute equipment again. So we're going to go through conversations. For me, it's going through conversations again. For you, it's the first time that you've seen them. But this episode is about advancing the relationships with our people. This is what I call Normandy dialogue mission, Normandy dialogue episode. And then next episode, we're going to go to the Citadel. And then the episode after that, we're going to get back on the main missions. I was really pleased that we got through all of our side missions and got those all completed. So before we get started, though, I wanted to point out some things that one of our viewers, Iron Bucket, brought up to me. And I'm telling you guys, I've mentioned this before, but if he had not brought this stuff up, I would not have looked it up. And the reason is because of what I've mentioned before. I am fully invested in uncovering the story, playing this game. That's my entertainment part of it. I'm fascinated by that, uncovering the storyline and then documenting that to upload to YouTube. That's something that appeals to me on a personal basis. And then on the actual operational side, what I would call the operational side, the other part that soaks up all of my interest level is the daily schedule. Get the videos recorded, get them uploaded to YouTube, and get at least one video out a day. That's what I try to do. That's what I've been doing here lately, is just one video a day. And my hands are full with that. Like this video that I'm recording right now, it's only one episode ahead of what is scheduled to be released tomorrow. So we don't have a lot of room. And now I like that because it keeps me close in the game time to when you guys see it. So the comments I see are more relevant to where I'm at in the recording process. The downside is that I don't have much of a buffer. So because of that, I don't really spend much time going back to look at the videos and make sure audio sounds good, or uncover snags that I'm running into, like with shotguns or what's going on with the game. And so there are two things that Iron Bucket brought up that, as I mentioned, I wouldn't know about them if he hadn't mentioned them. So the first thing we're going to talk about is shotguns. And he gave me some time links from, I think this is from a couple episodes ago. It was the one where I was blasting this guy in point blank range like 8 times, and he was surviving my shotgun blast, and I was frustrated. Well, Iron Bucket gave me a couple time links to look at, and he said if you watch, your shotgun took like half his shield and then half his health, but he activated a barrier because his health bar went to white. So that was encouraging to know that the shotgun was doing a lot of damage, but the guy activated a barrier, which is high protection, a lot of defense. The other thing that he mentioned was that Carnage. So he showed me a couple examples of where a shotgun was doing pretty solid damage, but I was running up against barriers and stuff like that. The other example that he mentioned regarded the talent, the ability shotgun. Where do we go? Squad. Carnage. Only available when using shotguns. Fires a projectile inflicting damage equal to 200% of weapon DPS to any enemy within 2 meters of its impact point. Purges the weapon heat on use. Now, what Iron Bucket had found, and he admitted up front he wasn't sure if this applied to ME01, which is what we're playing right now, or ME2 or ME3. It didn't really indicate, but it was showing that Carnage is a buff that gets amplified. I'm just looking at the tooltips here. By Spectre training and by Renegade. Well, that would be really bad for us because I was using Fextra Life, FEXTRALIFE, as a very rough guideline for how I spec my characters. And I looked at multiple classes for Fextra Life, and he never puts points into Spectre training. So I was following the same. He might put it in after, like but he prioritizes this stuff. And then obviously I'm going Paragon, not Renegade. So Carnage might be really bad for this particular character. I suspect, after looking at the tooltips here, that doesn't apply to us yet, because I'm thinking it doesn't apply to Mass Effect 1. This is something that applies later in one of the other Mass Effects, but I still need to know it, so I'm gonna check into it. I'm gonna look into it. So that was the first thing that Iron Bucket brought to my attention, and hats off to him for giving me the time links in the video to look at, and then having done some internet research to show me what may be at play here with some other bonus multipliers. Now, the other thing he brought up was some DLC called, what is it called? Polaris Station, I think. Polaris Station, I think, is the name of the DLC. Now, whenever I played this game originally, it was back whenever all three games were on their original release dates. And when ME01 came out, I want to say that we were kind of still in the beginning stages of the DLC movement. And there was a large gamer outcry against that. It basically theorized, they said, the gamers were saying, don't buy this stuff, don't support this model. If we boycott it, if we refuse to buy this stuff, it'll die in its tracks. But if we give it a green light, what this is going to end up doing is it's going to incentivize companies to release incomplete games. And you'll be forced to buy packages that should have been included with the original game and would have in the days before DLC, but are now going to be additional cost items to make your game function the way it was always intended to do. It could be malevolently used, where they withhold parts of the game on purpose and decide to release that as DLC, quote unquote, but really it's just completing the game, and they knew that they were doing that. Well, flash forward quite a few years, and I think that is what happened, and not in all cases, but in some cases. So what I'm saying is that at the time, because DLC was new, I wasn't into that anyway. I remember when that whole thing came online, I looked at that and thought to myself, that's going to be content that is not worth the price of admission. That's going to be your bells and whistles stuff that people buy as collectors. That's going to be your World of Warcraft pets that you can go to the store and pay money for because you're a huge fanboy, you know. And I'm not knocking being a fanboy, but I'm saying that's the demographic that stuff's going to be for. I think it's going to be a waste of money. So I didn't get into it. I just played the normal games. And then on top of that, I had this call to action about boycotting them because it could go down some bad roads that are going to be hard to resist for companies, just based on what companies are, what their purposes are, and what their bottom line is. You know, no pun intended. But so from two vectors, I didn't play DLC. Well, so I wouldn't have been aware of this. Well, why did he bring it up, Iron Bucket? What he found on the internet was that Mass Effect Legendary Series, which is advertised as including all of the DLC, did not include this DLC of Polaris Station. And that's because they said the code had been lost, the source code. So they couldn't put it in. Well, apparently, from what Iron Bucket found out, gamers to the rescue, specifically modders. And on Nexus, there is a mod now that you can apply to Mass Effect Legendary Series for the Polaris station DLC. And so I need to look into that and see, is that for Mass Effect 1, Mass Effect 2, Mass Effect 3? If it is for Mass Effect 1, can it be applied when you have a game that's already in progress? But without Iron Bucket, I would not be looking into any of this stuff. So big hat tip to him, and big thanks for all of us for him bringing that up. And I'll be looking into that now as a result of that. So let's go ahead and get started with the Normandy dialogue from there. Just want to keep looking at this and make sure nothing weird happened here. All right, let's start with Tali, actually. Now, I happen to know Tali doesn't have anything to say, but I wanted to show it to you guys.
Do you need something?
We know about Quarians, we know about Geth, we know about Pilgrimage, and we know about Tali's father. So I think nothing has advanced with her because we don't bring her on our missions.
I should go.
See you later.
So I'm actually seriously thinking of mixing up our groups that I take out, because we're at standstills with people when it comes to dialogue. Rex here does have something to say, and we just brought him on a mission too.
Never a dull moment with you, Shepard.
You ever go on any missions like ours before?
Saving the galaxy from certain destruction? No. But I've had my share of adventures.
Do you remember any that stick out?
A few. I remember one time I was hired by a Volus diplomat. What an ass.
What did he want you to do?
He wanted me to erase his past. Get rid of an old friend who knew too much. Huh. His old friend turned out to be an Asari commando.
I can see why that might give you pause.
What? No.
That still makes me laugh, even though I've heard it before.
Sort of.
He's offended.
We met when we were both contracted to kill the same Turian. Neither of us wanted the other one to get him first. We spent more time fighting each other than tracking that Turian.
Which one of you made it first?
It was a tie. I brought back his head. She got the rest of him. As far as I know, we both got paid. Anyway, when I told Alina about the diplomat's contract, she and I had a good laugh about it.
So what did you do?
Well, I wasn't going to lose the contract, but I respected Alina. In the end, I let her pick the location where we'd fight. She chose some old Solarian space station overrun with mercs and smugglers. That way we didn't have to worry about hurting any innocent bystanders. She always was a bit of a softie.
What happened on the station?
What didn't happen? For 2 days I chased her through that station, used my entire store of ammunition, had to kill a bunch of mercs and use their crap weapons. By the 3rd day, the station was barely holding together. The mercs were dead or gone, life support was failing, but I had her. She'd locked herself in the med labs. She was trying to patch herself up. Damn tough, that one. Then just when I thought I had her, the station's core went critical. Barely made it back to my ship in time.
I assume the Asari Commando didn't make it?
I watched the station from a distance. I never saw her leave. And when that place blew, there was nothing left larger than a Turian's right nut. So I headed back to the diplomat to give him the good news and collect my pay. But before I got halfway there, Alina sent me a message. Better luck next time. Now, I'm not superstitious, but if someone can survive that, well, they deserve to live. At least for a bit longer.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
What about the diplomat? He wanted her dead.
I told him the truth. Alina was still alive and she was really pissed. I told him if he wanted to live, he'd need me around to protect him.
You're smarter than you look, Rex.
Compliment salt.
He kept me on as his personal guard until he died. Natural causes. Easiest job I've ever had. A little boring, but credits are credits.
So long, Rex.
Shepard.
All right. Let's see. I've distributed all of our stuff already. Nothing really big. Caden got an upgrade in his bio amp.
Commander?
I think this one goes down the romance line.
What's your opinion on the last mission?
You mean the Rachni, right? They were dangerous, Skipper. They proved that 2,000 years ago. I think it was a mistake to let them go. But that wasn't my call to make. It was yours. You know, you really should talk to T'Soni about her mom. She has to be hurting. Just saying, Skipper.
Dismissed, Chief.
Sir.
She was really annoyed with Liara, so that's an indicator of an advancement in team cohesion there, that Ashley was concerned for Liara's welfare. And I tell you what, man, I think playing a Shepard-Ashley romance with a renegade take would probably be pretty rewarding. And we got Garrus.
Commander, I wanted to thank you.
What for, Garrus?
For everything. Taking me with you, letting me be part of your team. I've learned a lot. Thanks, Commander.
You're welcome, Garrus.
Oh, that's it, huh? Yes, it is. And in the first video that I recorded, I had actually reacted to that, and I said, I know my own personality. Because I'm genuinely concerned for my people's welfare, my tendency is to, I don't mean to do it this way, but it does amount to, I kind of kick down doors. You know, if somebody gives me some hesitancy like that, I tend to be like, hey, what's on your mind? I mean, you can speak freely. What's going on? That's clearly not everything. And I know that that's my instinct. Experience has allowed me to overcome that at times and be able to hold back on a sentiment like that. Because what I've learned is that sometimes you need to give people space. You need to let sleeping dogs lie. They're still working things out, and asking them to get vocal about something they haven't completely sorted out is really kind of not fair to them. They can say things that they don't mean yet because they don't really know what's going on. They're figuring it out. And so the wise thing is to know, I guess wisdom would be defined by knowing instinctually, by maybe reading body language or something, or knowing your people, the individual you're talking to, knowing when to go ahead and pry a little bit and when to walk away. And apparently with Garrus here, the right move, because we didn't have any other options, was to walk away. Okay, now this is available to us, so that's good. And we want to go talk to Liara now. It's probably about time. It's a good time, I think, to try and push the relationship forward some. So we'll see what happens here. Wow, I think Caden just kind of jumped forward there a little bit.
I get the feeling you want to ask me something, Commander.
I just wanted to talk.
Of course, Shepard. What did you want to talk about?
Well, I don't see anything new here.
Do you know why Benezia joined up with Saren?
Benezia was swept up in events beyond her control and
Yeah, we know that.
lost. But I will remember and honor how she lived. Not
Are you going to be okay?
You are kind to ask, Shepard. I do miss her, and I grieve for what happened to her. But I will not let my grief interfere with what we are trying to accomplish.
I'd like to know more about the Asari.
We were the first species to discover. My people believe we are all part of a single galactic. Although we seek to understand other species, it seems few of them seek to understand us. The
Like what?
galaxy is- Most of the inaccuracies are centered around our mating ritual. We still require a partner to reproduce. This second parent, however, may be of any species.
I should go.
Goodbye, Shepard.
Okay, so we do know all of that. We've been down those dialogue options before, so there was no advancement for Liara. We'll have to wait for another opportunity. I don't believe Caden has anything to say. We haven't brought him on any other missions. I think that he's locked. At his, oh yeah, he did kind of jump forward.
Anything you need, Commander?
Just trying to get a sense of where the crew's at. Thoughts?
Is this an official evaluation, Commander? Or off the record?
Well, speak your mind was my first instinct, but let's give him really clear instruction. Tell him it's off the record.
All right. Let's label it officially off the record. Got something on your mind?
Straight up, there's something wrong with all of this. This Saren is looking for a lost mass relay to who knows where, but we can't get backup from the Council? Sorry, Commander. There's writing on the wall here, but someone isn't reading it.
The Council doesn't want to believe anything's wrong. I'd call it human nature, but...
I hear you. It just seems like a group that's been around as long as the Council should see this coming. Sorry if I got too informal. Protocol wasn't a big focus back in Bot.
Tell me about it.
Biotic acclimation and temperance didn't last past the airlock. To the kids they hauled in, it was brain camp. Sorry, hauled in is unkind. We were encouraged to commit to an evaluation of our abilities so an understanding of biotics could be compiled. There are worse results of accidental exposure to element 0 in the womb. Beats the brain tumors some kids grew up with.
So it does sound a little bit like coercion. I don't know, man. I think you could probably read that from both sides and people read into it what they want. That's what it sounds like to me. I got nothing to base this off of. This is my instinct, right? I think from the biotics perspective, they feel like they got hoodwinked and swindled. From whatever group conducted these tests, they felt like they were upfront about things. I don't know who to believe. We don't have the info.
Is there some question about how you were exposed?
My mother was downwind of a transport crash. It was before there were human biotics, a little after the discovery of the Martian ruins. It only gets iffy around 63 when kinetics was running out of first-gen subjects. Until then, they'd relied on accidentals. A bunch of guys in suits show up at your door after school, and next thing you know, you're out on Jump Zero.
Jump Zero is Gagarin Station, right? What's it like?
Yeah, that's the official name. Biggest and farthest facility we had for decades. Right on the termination shock, the outer edge of the solar system. It's where they did all the Goose Chase FTL research before we caught on to using mass effect fields. It was a sterile research platform when I was there.
There were other kids in the same boat, right? At least you weren't alone out there.
That's true. We did have a little circle that'd get together every night before lights out. We didn't have much to do, though. It was a research platform then, and kinetics kept Jump Zero off the extranet to prevent leaks.
What?
Then you must have had plenty of time to get to know each other.
Yeah, we'd sit around and bull every night after dinner, play cards or network games. There was this girl named Rana, who had a little circle grow up around her. She was from Turkey. Her family was very rich. But she was smart and charming as hell. Beautiful, but not stuck up about it. I think you'd have liked her.
Okay.
Jump Zero is a long way from home. What was it like?
The grand gateway to humanity looks a lot better in the vids. But that's my own baggage, Commander. No bearing on this.
It's a big galaxy, Lieutenant. Who knows what will come in handy?
If you say so, sir. Besides, I've got my past squared away.
Okay. So he did have quite a lot to say. I don't know what to make of this thing with L2s, man. I mean, I could see both sides, and like I say, it seems to me like it's one of those things where, because you're dealing with stuff that nobody knows about, I mean, you're pushing the envelope in a field of study, right? Then it's ambiguous by nature, which means that both sides can, I don't want to say spin their own story, but it's how they view it. Although he did allude to some shady stuff about maybe, and this is unfortunately believable, about maybe whoever's in charge of this doing things that would create more accidentals, which is anything but accidental, right? He mentioned his mom was downwind of this explosion, you know, stuff like that. That's all shady stuff. That's very shady in my opinion. And so, I don't know. You know, I just know that a few episodes ago they mentioned reparations. I was like, what in the world? Oh my gosh, no. You know, and then I was kind of thinking more about it. I'm like, wait a minute, I don't know the whole story on this thing. What, you know, what, fill in the blanks. What is there out there? What more is there to this thing? Well, it looks like we're uncovering some of that with Caden, but it's still a murky area for me. It's a hallmark of a good game, though. It may, you know, it kind of challenges you, it makes you second guess some things and stuff of that nature. I think that's part of the fun. All right, let's go ahead and create a save point right here. Am I able to delete a save point? I need to delete. Actually, I don't know about that. No, I'm not going to delete anything. I'm just going to save a new game. All right, guys, and that's going to wrap it up for this episode. Again, big thanks to Iron Bucket. I am Aesop Grimm. Thanks for coming by this channel. I hope you like what you saw. I hope all is well in your neck of the woods, and I will see you in the next episode where this story continues.